Alhamdulillah, Alhamdulillahi wa kafa, wa salamun ala ibadihi allazina istafa, amma ba'd. A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajeem. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. Subhana rabbika rabbil izzati amma yasifun, wa salamun ala al-mursaleen, walhamdulillahi rabbil alameen. Allahumma salli ala Sayyidina Muhammad wa ala ali Sayyidina Muhammad wa barik wa sallim. اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا محمد وبارك وسلم. اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا محمد وبارك وسلم. رب يسر ولا تؤسر وتمم بالخير وبك نستعين. ربي زدني علما يا فتاح يا فتاح يا فتاح. इंसान की फितरत है, part of human's nature, that as soon as a certain time frame crosses, or we operate as per the time frames that we are in. For example, for those of you who are who are blessed to wake up for tahajjud, when you wake up for tahajjud, you are in a different mind frame. At that time, you want to take things slow, you want to read more Quran, you want to spend time in dua, you want to invest your time and make the most of it. But then as soon as Fajr Azan goes, the sort of time reference changes. Now you are constantly checking your watch that how much time left for Jamaat, and you're basically starting into that counting the minutes mindset. When we started this exercise this year, back in December and mid-December some time frame, start of Rajab, we were in the tahajjud phase. We were thinking that abhi to bahut time hai, let's take things slowly, let's understand what is it that we need to do. Allahumma barik lana fi Rajab wa Shaban wa ballighna Ramadan. Rajab hai, Shaban hai, then Allah take us to Ramadan slowly. And then we said ki abhi time hai, let's skip a couple of weeks as well. I was traveling, you were traveling, this, that. And here we are now, less than 13 days into Ramadan, inshallah. Now we are in that, as I explained last time, that the 15th of Shaban is like that time of Fajr has now entered. And now we are just moving slowly towards the brightness. The Noor has started to increase, and we are now entering towards the zone where, inshallah, it will soon be dawn of Noor. Whether we manage to increase ourselves to a point where we are, or make ourselves comfortable to a point where we will be, inshallah, able to take the Noor of Ramadan from day one or not, is all relative. I do not want anyone to feel disheartened that, I didn't do this much, I am not ready. Because when it comes to Allah, the mujahida, the effort that we put in is never comparative. Neither is it relative to somebody else, but it's purely related to who you are and what your circumstances are. The effort that is required from me may be very different from the effort that is required from you. It all depends upon where you are in your journey in attaining the taqwa. For a person who is completely new to all of this, who doesn't have any understanding of any of these concepts, for him just few steps are a giant leap. For a person who has everything clear to him, who is at a stage where he is none of these things are new for him, and yet he is not progressing. His effort required for him to progress is different. So at no point in time should we let, the first thing that I want to clarify today is that at no point in time should we let shaitan come and tell us कि मैंने तो कुछ किया ही नहीं. There is no point. ये 14 दिन में मैंने अब क्या कर लेना है जो मैंने पिछले 2 महीने में कुछ नहीं किया. Because a single small step towards Allah is a giant leap in moving away from sins. A small step towards Allah is a giant leap in moving away from sins, and that is what is required. There's a very famous story that there was a person, he had done 99 murders, and after committing those acts, he felt that he has done something wrong. So he went to a preacher and he said, I have done these, will I be forgiven? Too much. एक खून बहा देना उतना ज़्यादा होता है. 19, it's too much. He said, okay, then I'll do one more. उसको भी मार दिया. So now he had done 100. But then he felt bad again. So this time he went to a sheikh. And he said, Sheikh, I've done this. Is there any hope? Sheikh said, yes, there is. Do a sincere tawbah. But after doing that, leave this town. And go to another town and be in the company of so and so. Be in the company of so and so. So that guy did tawbah and he started his journey towards where the Shaykh had told him that go and be in company of so and so. He had just traveled a short distance that angels of death came and it was time for him to return back to Allah. Now, 2 pairs of angels came. One was those who were to take him to hell, and the others were there to take him to Jannah. And a question, so now I was like, what should be done? So it was decided that measure the distance between the town that he is coming from and where the spot of his death is, and the town that he was going to and the spot of his death. And whichever distance is less, that would be the decision. So if he is closer to the town that he was going to, then he would go to Jannah, and if he is closer to the town that he has left, then he'll go to Jahannam. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala ordered the earth to shrink so that the place that he was meant to go to, that distance becomes shorter. So the Mashaykh say that because he had done tawbah and he had done the niyat. Remember I told you that there are 4 things in tawbah, and one of them is to show a firm intention to correct. His initiating the journey to go to a place where he can be away from his past was a firm intention to show that he is sincere in his tawbah. And that small, although he had taken few steps to Allah, that was such a beloved act that he ensured that he be taken to Jannah. So I want to start today's session by saying that even if we feel that we haven't done anything, let that not hinder us or make us feel disheartened, because that's what shaitan would want us to do. We'll do a quick reminder of things that you've all heard before, you all know before, but just to remind ourselves that what is it that we need to be doing going into Ramadan and where we stand. And inshallah then I'll share these slides with you as well, so that this acts as a reminder for all of us, right? What we have been working on so far is a simple concept that we want to gain as much noor as possible, because that noor helps us be prepared to receive the ultimate guidance, the ultimate guidelines from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, or that noor is what will then push us towards the ultimate state of taqwa that we want to achieve. And in that effort to attaining the noor, we want to block anything that lets the noor leak out. And that's why we had started doing zikr, because zikr is the biggest bump in getting that noor. And the thing that gets the noor to leak are the sins. So the next thing, we did zikr, and then we worked on that let's leave sins, whether they are outward sins or the hidden sin, the inward sins. And yes, in the last session, that what we spoke about was that one of the biggest sins that really destroy us is not praying salah. So the importance of salah, establishing salah, and then we also spoke about spending in the path of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the importance of that. So when it comes to sins, there are two ways to look at it. One is that we do not do the things that we have been asked to do, and we do the things that we have been asked not to do. These are the two kinds of sins that we do. We either do the things that we have been asked not to do, or we do not do the things that we have been asked to do. Salah is one of the things that we have been asked to do. Spending in the path of Allah is the thing that we've been asked to do, but we neglect it, we sort of slacken it, and that is a sin. So we need to avoid doing that, right? And then salah is also very important because it shields our heart. It shields our heart, and it also shields our iman. It shields our iman. Inna salata tanha anil fahsha'i wal munkar. Salah acts as a shield. It stops us. It acts as a barrier. The one who's mindful of the fact that I have to go and stand in front of Allah, he would never, and he knows that he's standing in front of Allah, he would know कि यार मैं किस मुंह से अल्लाह के पास जाऊंगा if I have done something like this. So you do not do the thing that will hinder or will stop you from going from to Allah if you are mindful of your salah. And when we do the things that we have been asked not to do, that is called ilm or irade se gunah karna. When we do the things that we have been asked not to do, that is ilm or irade se gunah karna, and that basically is like a perfect bucket is there and you go and puncture it, or a balloon is there and you go and puncture it. So apne haath se khura khobna, right? So you're basically stabbing by yourself. And the things that lead to us stabbing our own selves are our ears, our eyes, our tongue, our stomach, our hands, and our feet. And this is something again which we, in this year, we started from a very start, and we said, okay, let's start working on them, and let's not do anything that would eliminate as many reasons that we may end up dirtying our heart because of these 4 or 5 areas. If we have not been doing till now, then as a reminder, before the start of, in the next 14 days, in the 2 weeks that we have, try our level best to protect our eyes and ears and tongue. Especially our eyes. Very easy, get off the social media, your eyes would be generally protected. Just get off social media. Ears, save yourself from listening to anything which is inappropriate, even if it is backbiting, if it is somebody saying, I'm not even going into listening to music or any of that. I'm talking about in our day-to-day conversation. If you have a friend who has a very loose tongue and he uses a lot of swear words, avoid that friend. Because his loose tongue is affecting your ears and is affecting your heart. And if you have a habit of saying things, then mark yourself, check yourself, so that you don't use any wrong words. You don't lie, even if it is a joke. You don't say anything hurtful to anyone, because your tongue also causes you to sin. Stomach is also very important, but I think in these 14 days, if we have to focus on at least the eyes, ears and tongues, stomach ke mujahide ab khatam ho gaye, focus on these three things.
You automatically focus.
मैंने कहा ना कि अब नमाज अजान के बाद फोकस चेंज हो जाता है. आप वुज़ू करें, आप जल्दी जल्दी बस तैयारी करें. नाउ वी आर ऑन दैट. स्टमक के रोज़े जब शबान के 15 रोज़े ख़त्म हो गए बस अब. But just addressing these is not good enough. Ramadan is such a month in which there are certain exceptions in which a person who may be outwardly doing everything, he may be fasting, he may be doing salah, he may be doing tarawih, he may be doing qiyamul layl, he may be doing all of these things. He may even be spending in the path of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, making others break their fast and all of those things. But yet, he would be deprived of the blessings of Ramadan, especially the blessings of Laylatul Qadr. And that is a person who has hidden flaws in him. And those hidden flaws are all to do with the relationships that we have. First and foremost thing is to clear our heart for anyone that we have a grudge against. To forgive people. We cannot keep this thing that, whenever I get a chance, I'll get back to this person. You're not required to have a loving relationship with everyone. There are certain people you can't get along with. That's fine. That's fine. But to have an open grudge against someone, to be waiting to take revenge against someone, to know that jab mauka milega, I'll definitely do something, that cannot be the case. We have to clear our heart. We have to sit down and say that, Ya Allah, for you, whoever owes me anything, I forgive him. जिस किसी का मेरे ऊपर हक है, मेरा हक जिस किसी ने अदा नहीं किया, या अल्लाह मैंने उन सबको माफ़ किया, या अल्लाह आप भी उनको माफ़ कर दीजिए. And we have to mean it. ये इतना खूबसूरत एक्ट है कि रसूलुल्लाह सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम ने वादा फरमाया है कि whoever forgives while being on the right, I take the responsibility of him being with me on day of Jannah like this, in Qiyamah like this. A person who would be like this next to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam on the day of Qiyamah, how would his Qiyamah be? Your presidential guest. I don't know if you guys have ever seen on Hajj that you so often see that there's a royal or a presidential group that passes by, and here you are 4 घंटे से चल के आप आ रहे होते हैं, suddenly the helicopter passes by, and then suddenly then they are gone and you're like, oh. Right? This is what it is. And I always think of that as like, those who would be, ये तो दुनिया के मज़े हैं ना, इनका क्या भरोसा. असल मज़ा तो उस दिन होगा जब you would be in the elite company of those who have been blessed. मुकर्रबीन के उन कंपनी में होंगे. This is, I mean, इससे बड़ी क्या गारंटी होगी? जो बंदा यूं होगा, would he be in मुकर्रबीन or not? He'll definitely be in मुकर्रबीन. And the easiest way of coming in the muqarrabeen is to clean your heart. A Sahabi was guaranteed Jannah, although he's not part of the Ashra Mubashra, a series that we haven't still completed, but inshallah we will. He was granted, he was given the glad tidings of Jannah because of one habit of his, that every night when he went to sleep, he ensures that he forgives everyone, he clears everyone, his heart of everyone. And in clearing up your heart, the first and the foremost are your blood relatives. What we call Sila Rahmi, joining the blood ties. जो रिश्तेदारों में लड़ाइयाँ हैं, स्टार्टिंग फ्रॉम बहन भाइयों की लड़ाइयाँ, बिला वजह के झगड़े, they need to be tied up. It's just simply not affordable in the sight of Allah. These are the people who have these things, they are mahroom. They are cut off. Despite them doing everything, they are cut off from the rahmat of Ramadan. This is how serious this is. Again, your part is to go and just say, I'm sorry, let's patch up. Your part is not to बस जाके patch up करना ही करना है, गले में हाथ डाल के बैठना ही बैठना है. But your part is to initiate and keep initiating. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, a Sahabi asked him that, Ya Rasulullah, are we meant to join ties with those who cut from us? Rasulullah said, absolutely. Because those who are, already normal with you, उनके साथ join करके क्या होगा? Those who are trying to cut off from you, उनसे जाके जुड़ना is more important. Patch up, patch up. It's important to patch up. ये बड़ा मुश्किल है, and this is why our society is where it is, because our egos have become too big. And last but not the least is our parents. In fact, I'm speaking about them at the end because हम बाकी सब कुछ कर लें, ज़ाहिरी गुनाह भी छोड़ दें, हार्ट भी क्लियर कर लें, ब्लड टाइज भी क्लियर कर दें, हमारे माँ बाप हमसे खुश ना हो, it all will amount to zero. This is how important parents are. Parents are just, there is not enough emphasis that can be laid on this last part. And the best and easiest way is कि बस आप जाके उनके पाँव पड़ जाएं, ऐसे कि यार मुझे माफ़ कर दे, जो भी हो चुका, आप मुझे माफ़ कर दें. These are the things to do before Ramadan. These are not the things to be done in the last Ashra of Ramadan. If we have done them before Ramadan, we have done a lot. We have at least opened the doors for the rahmat to come through. And then there are things to do which will help us sail through Ramadan. But Ramadan शुरू होने से पहले ये जो 3 windows that I spoke about, which pollute our heart, let's close those. And then the things which are inner to us, that has nothing to do with an external window, but is the gun within, which nobody else knows. Only I know and Allah knows. Not even our angels, because there's nothing that is expressed or written about them. But Allah knows about them. This we need to take care of before Ramadan. Ramadan itself, a month of mercy, a month in which voluntary acts become equal to that of a fard, and a fard act becomes that of equivalent to 70 times of that 700 times or even more. It is a month which is a month of patience, a month of sympathy, and it's a month in which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala showers barakah. There's barakah in every single thing, provided we are seeking barakah. We already spoke about the benefits of spending in the path of Allah. I mentioned the importance of feeding people so that they get to keep their fast or get to break their fast, and we have played a role in it. Inshallah, tonight or tomorrow I will be sharing. We are starting an initiative in Pakistan through Mahad Hadeeth Institute, where we will be planned to serve 500 families with ration, 1 month worth of ration. So that will help them, a family of 4 people, will help them go through Ramadan, have enough for Sehri and Iftar. Reasonable, average size Sehri and average size Iftar they can do. It's not much. It's $30 for one ration. So if you want to do more, you can do more. But that's the $30 के तन 90 dirhams बन जाता है, 100 dirhams roughly around that price, 105 dirham के करीब. That's how much it would cost. Inshallah, I'll share it. If you want to participate in it, I can collect and I can pass it on. Otherwise, I can share with you bank details in Pakistan. If you want to transfer from Pakistan, don't transfer from here to Pakistan. That raises eyebrows. If you have accounts in Pakistan, you can directly transfer in that account as well. But that's a good initiative. There's a second initiative. So these are still people who have access to things. My brother, may Allah give Jazaa khair to him, he does the same initiative for people who live in the Badgam area, the northern areas, which is like 14 hours by road. After road you have to track through, and then you get to those people. There are families that live over there. Hardly anybody goes and support them. So he, mashallah, has been doing for last few years Ramzan package for them. Similar, we'll make a package ration for one family. I'll get the cost from him as well. If you want to support that, you can participate in that as well. But doing this, what it does is that it allows us to ensure that there is somebody who we are facilitating, keeping and breaking their fast.
So those 500 families have been identified, or
So those 500 families are within that vicinity area of Jhang.
Yeah.
So उसमें ही उनको करें. I will share everything, inshallah. Okay. Then, if you are to take out zakat in this month, take out zakat as well. That's always a very good area, time to keep out zakat. Again, zakat कोई फ़र्ज़ नहीं है कि रमज़ान में ही निकाली जाए. The reason you take out रमज़ान में zakat is because एक फ़र्द का अजर जो है वो 70 गुना ज़्यादा होता है. So for that purposes you do that, right? We should try, in fact not just try, make it a point that in Ramadan we pray our Isha and our Fajr with Jamaat. Because whoever prays Isha and whoever prays Fajr with Jamaat, it is as though he has prayed the whole night. उसने सारी रात इबादत में गुजारी. So these two are very, very important salah. Every salah is important, but at least these two. And given that in Ramadan, a voluntary act is equivalent to that of fard, so we should not take shortcut and say कि यार सुनते तो चलो. We should pay not just the sunnahs but also the nafil prayers. जो बचपन में हमें याद कराते थे ना कि हर नमाज की कितनी सुन्नतें कितने नफल होते हैं. Open those tables up again and pray according to that.
If I'm driving to Abu Dhabi, I'll still do that half fard, right?
Fard you will do half.
Sunnah nafil.
Sunnah nafil you can still do full.
I thought that just when even the first is reduced to half, there is no concept of sunnah nafil.
So you are not allowed, I mean, there is no obligation on you to pray sunnah and nafil. But because you are not like driving all the way, और ये नहीं है कि आपने ऊँट को पकड़ा हुआ है और कंटिन्यूस चले जा रहे हैं. आप जाके ऑफिस में हैं,
एक
कंडीशन एनवायरनमेंट मस्जिद जाएंगे, नमाज टाइम पे होगा, सब आपको सुकून से जाने देंगे, पढ़ने देंगे, तो you can do that. Ramadan is the time for acceptance of du'as. There are 60 blank checks that we are given in Ramadan. 60 blank checks. The time before iftar, going into iftar, is the time for acceptance of dua. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has ordered us कि मजदूर को उसका पसीना खुश्क होने से पहले उसकी अजर दे दो, रोज़ी दे दो. If we have been commanded to do that, then if we have been putting in the effort and fasting all day for Allah, Allah would definitely, a person who has been fasting before iftar, anything that he asks for, his dua is accepted. Get into the habit as the head of your families to gather everyone before iftar, sit together and make dua. Make dua. Make dua out loud. Pray for your family, pray for बच्चों के नाम individually लेके, for your barakat in your family, barakah in your household. Do that so that everybody gets into this habit of making dua. शुरू में क्योंकि आदत नहीं होती तो बच्चे they find it very funny कि एकदम से अब्बा को क्या हो गया, you know, why is he doing it like this? But then everybody knows that this is dua time. Develop that habit. And because bachche are masoom, they're saying Ameen to your dua, there's a high probability of it acceptance even there and then. If you are invited to an iftar party, first of all, refuse it. Because iftar parties are we do backbiting over there, we do, I don't know, it's just a lot of, you know, people say, but Ramadan is all about socializing. So it's not about socializing. You haven't heard socializing from me in the whole of the lecture that I've covered. Socializing you do outside of Ramadan. Ramadan is all about, there's a friend of ours, poor guy, had taken gym membership last year. And he had, you know, he wasn't earning much and he had paid quite a hefty amount for that membership. उसने मुझसे आगे पूछा, शेख साहब मैं अभी कुछ भी नहीं कर रहा, तो मैं रमज़ान में जिम चला जाया करूँगा, done the membership. तो मैंने उसको कहा कि यार नहीं, Ramadan is not for you to go to gym. Ramadan is to work on your spiritual health. Use that time for zikr, for Quran and everything. Gym जाओगे वहाँ music होगा, सारा कुछ होगा. Leave gym. तो बेचारे ने उस वक्त तो कुछ नहीं कहा. पिछले दिनों मेरे से मुलाकात हुई तो उसने मुझे feedback दिया कि you know that thing that you told me not to go to gym was very heavy on my heart, because I was thinking that, you know, here I have paid the whole month's membership and I have to go and do it. But month of Ramadan is like that. It is too important a month for us to miss. We can't miss it. So dua at tahajjud and dua at iftar, these are the two times we must do du'as. Then Quran. Ramadan is month of Quran. all the books of Allah have come down in Ramadan. अब कोई पूछे कि भाई कुरान तो 23 साल पे आया था तो रमज़ान में कैसे आया? The initiation was in Quran. Another explanation is that from what are the two transitions of Quran? Lohe Mahfuz to
the heaven, the highest, lowest heaven.
the lowest heaven,
Lowest heaven.
Baitul Ma'mur. So the first descent and then the second transit. The first descent was in Ramadan and the second descent was over 23 years. We did this in our tafsir sessions when we started those tafsir sessions. So Ramadan and Quran, they are hand in hand. So aim to finish recitation of one full Quran and then aim to finish recitation of one Quran while listening to it in Tarawih. ये दो कुरान तो होने ही होने चाहिए. दिस मंथ इज़ नॉट द मंथ. शैतान क्या करता है? वो कहता है यार मैं तफसीर शुरू कर देता हूँ. लेट मी गेट कनेक्टेड टू कुरान. लेट मी जस्ट स्टार्ट रीडिंग द ट्रांसलेशन. लेट मी स्टार्ट रीडिंग द तफसीर. और बड़ा वो लॉजिकली कन्विंस करता है कि यार मुझे समझ ही नहीं आएगी तो क्या फ़ायदा. व्हाट इज़ द पॉइंट ऑफ मी डूइंग समथिंग इफ़ आई डोंट अंडरस्टैंड इट. ये मौलवी लोग तो कहते हैं बस पढ़ते जाओ, कोई फ़ायदा नहीं. वो that is where shaitan gets to you. You start doing the tafsir. तफसीर समझ में नहीं आती. आधे पारे की तफसीर पूरा महीना गुजर जाता है. And before you know it, Ramadan is over. This month is for recitation of Quran. Tafsir is 11 months. Other than that is the time for doing tafsir. Now is just recitation. And there is a lot of sawab for just recitation. And if you struggle in recitation, you have more reward than the one who has no problem in recitation. So, recite Quran, tilawat Quran, tafsir, tarjuma is outside of Quran, Ramadan.
Have to be for a long period of time. So the criteria figure.
Hold it, we'll come to itikaf. Then, zikr. So far, we have been focusing on one particular type of zikr, which has been zikr qalbi. That zikr continues. But there is a saying of Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam in which he said that 4 things you need to do in excess. Right? The 2 things that are there to please Allah, and that is to recite La ilaha illallah, and that is to recite istighfar. So we should do tahleel, La ilaha illallah, and we should do istighfar as much as we can. This is now zikr of zuban. We do a muraqba as muraqba wo apni jagah hai, and we have done, alhamdulillah, we've been doing it. We should continue to do it. I most likely after tomorrow will not be able to do, not most likely, in all likelihood will not be able to do the 5 a.m. sessions anymore. Not that it affects any one of you, but so those of you who do attend that session, I personally will not be able to attend those because tomorrow Hazrat is coming and then I'm traveling with him and the next to impossible that I get to do it. But my recommendation would be for those of you who do it, is to continue doing that at 5 a.m. just so that the discipline continues. But other than that, in Ramadan, just doing the tahleel is La ilaha illallah, and istighfar, astaghfirullah rabbi min kulli zambi wa atubu ilayh. And then 2 things is, of the 4 things that Rasulullah said we should do a lot of, is 2 things that we cannot do without, is to ask Allah for Jannah and seek Allah's protection from Jahannam. Allahumma inni as'aluka jannaka, and Allahumma inni as'aluka Jannah, and Allahumma inni a'udhu bika minan nar. Right? So these 2 things are also to be done. We pay a lot of attention to iftar in Ramadan. Iftar, all that has been emphasized in the Sharia with regards to iftar is the dua of iftar. बाकी तो एक खजूर से इफ्तार कर लेना is more than enough. What has been emphasized upon is sahur. And sahur is that meal, there are two meals about which you will never be questioned. कोई सवाल होगा ही नहीं. Otherwise, every meal that we have, we will be questioned about it. हमें जवाब देना पड़ेगा. दो मील्स ऐसे हैं जिसके बारे में कोई जवाब दे नहीं. एक वो जिसमें कोई बच्चा शामिल हो, एंड दूसरा वो जो कि सहरी के वक्त खाया जाए.
Iftar will be questioned, like if we
हाँ बिल्कुल अफ्तार. एवरी अदर मील विल बी क्वेश्चन. दो मील जिनके बारे में कोई सवाल जवाब है नहीं. एंड द मील दैट शैतान मेक्स यू मोस्ट लेजी अबाउट इज सहूर. यार खा लिया, डबल ओवर ईटिंग हो जाएगी,
खाली पेट रख लेते हैं.
खाली पेट रख लेते हैं. शेख साहब ने कहा था 1 meal a day काफ़ी है. It will convince you कि अफ्तार इज़ बेटर, कर लिया है काफ़ी है. सहूर बस खजूर ही खा लेता हूँ, कोई बात नहीं. खजूर खाना है अफ्तार में खा लें, बट सहूर it is a very very blessed meal. सहरी करने का एहतमाम करें. मैं ख़ुद सहरी करने में बहुत कंजूसी दिखाता था, लेकिन अल्लाह जज़ाए खैर दे हज़रत को, मैंने उनकी सोहबत में रह के ये सीखा है कि अदरवाइज इज़ वेरी कंट्रोल एंड वेरी मिनिमल, बट सहरी का वो एहतमाम करते हैं. सहरी इज़ वन मील वेरी वुड डू, मतलब ख़ुद भी और बाकियों को भी जो भी है वो, and only because of the importance of that meal, because of the rahmat and the barakah that comes in that meal. So sahur, and if we are up for sahur, जहाँ पे हम एहतमाम से खाएंगे, that also enables us to do tahajjud. So there is double fayda of it, and then we can benefit back, roll it back to the dua that needs to be done with tahajjud. So we can sahur goes hand in hand with that.
If I will just quickly emphasize upon the fact that those meals are my meals and that will be questioned.
So there are 3 questions that we would be asked in our graves, and there are 5 questions that we will be asked on the day of Mahshar. Of the 5 questions, one of the questions is कहाँ से कमाया और कहाँ लगाया. एक तो ये होगा. And then there's another hadith which comes into play that once, बड़ी लंबी हदीस है, मफ़हूम उसका ये है कि रसूलुल्लाह सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम, he was very hungry, he came out and he saw that Abu Bakr Siddiq was there as well. He asked, why are you here? So he said, he lifted his shirt, he had tied a rock onto his stomach. He said bhook bahut lagi hui thi, I had come out for that. Abu Bakr said, I asked the same thing. Umar radiallahu came out. They asked, why are you here? And they said he was in the same condition. So all 3 of them were extremely hungry. They went to a Sahabi's place. The Sahabi was very happy to see them. He brought them some dates, and then he cut one of his sheep and cooked them a meal. And while Rasulullah was eating that meal, he sent some to his house, Fatma radiallahu ta'ala anha, unko bhijwaya, that she would not have eaten anything as well. But while he was eating it, he then recited the ayah and said that these are the ni'mat about which we would be questioned. That Allah would question you for all the ni'mas that we are given, and the meals are, so the questioning would be that, that were you thankful to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for that ni'mah that you were given? And that is a very broad question. कि उसको खाने के बाद उससे जो एनर्जी आई उसको हमने कहाँ कंज्यूम किया, क्या हमें अल्लाह याद भी थे जब हम वो खाना खा रहे थे, क्या उस खाने को हमने ज़ाया तो नहीं किया, क्या हमने उस खाने का हक अदा किया, क्या उसमें जो बाकी लोगों का हिस्सा था वो हमने उनको पूरा दिया, क्या ऐसा तो नहीं था कि हम खुद तो खा रहे थे और साथ कोई दूसरा हमारे पड़ोस में बिल्कुल भूखा मर रहा था, हमने उसको पूछा भी नहीं. So all of these will be part of that question. It's a very broad spectrum. जिसमें आ सकता है. But to the point, all of that is excused in सहरी. सहरी आप टेंशन फ्री होके खा सकते हैं. That does not, by the way, give us the excuse कि let me go to the sahur tents and
I was about to ask, Islam की दावत accept नहीं
हाँ.
करते.
let me go to those sahur tents and enjoy sahur over there. Ramadan, unfortunately, is also become too commercialized, just as everything else is. Ramadan is not about these things. रमज़ान तो अपने आप को अल्लाह की रात में थका देने का नाम है. These are too precious a time, too important a time to be doing or spending in any of these things. Then, if we can, then we should do Umrah in Ramadan. रमज़ान की उम्रे की बहुत ज़्यादा सिग्निफिकेंस है. अगर हम नहीं कर सकते तो हम कम से कम उसकी नीयत ज़रूर करें कि अगर अल्लाह ने मुझे मौका दिया, तौफीक दी, तो मैं उम्रा ज़रूर करूँगा. नीयत कर लेने पे हमारे दीन की खूबसूरती है कि नीयत कर लेने पे एक दफ़ा तो अजर लिखा ही जाता है, और अगर उसके बाद वो कर लें तो फिर एक और अजर लिख दिया जाता है. तो नीयत तो कम से कम कर लें कि अगर अल्लाह ने मुझे मौका दिया तो मैं उम्रा ज़रूर करूँगा. और देन इफ़ यू वांट टू डू उम्रा, पैराशूट उम्र करना है तो उमर से रब्ता कर लें. ही इज़ मास्टर ऑफ डूइंग क्विक उमराज, गए वापस आए. एंड सो पर आई वुड रिकमेंड के जो साथी हैं जो कि आपस में मिल के एक प्लान बना सकते हैं, डू दैट. उससे सपोर्ट भी रहती है, हिम्मत भी रहती है, कैन ईज़िली बी डन. अल्हम्दुलिल्लाह, आई थिंक अफोर्डिंग इट इज़ नॉट अ प्रॉब्लम. अगर किया जा सकता है टाइम निकाल के किसी वीकेंड पे जाके तो कर लेना चाहिए. अगर इफ़ ऑल गोज़ वेल, अल्लाह ताला ने मौका दिया तो इंशाल्लाह आई इंटेंड टू गो बिटवीन 11th and 22nd. May not be the whole time. Hazrat will be there the whole time. I may have to come back. I may definitely will have to come back for work. But at least 11th, 12th or 13th इसके दरमियान में I'll do Umrah inshallah. Inshallah.
11th of Ramadan or
March.
For a short trip of 3 days if someone wants to.
Say. So I think we have the group. उसके ऊपर we can exchange, and if somebody can patch up and join and go together, that's better. Then Umar was asking about itikaf.
Is there fixed date which you prefer to go?
जी.
Any preferred dates from 11 to 22nd, or just are you going to be there from 11 to 22nd?
I'm just going to be there, so it's not. There's no special reason for these dates. It's just it so happens that I will be there during these dates.
Okay. Okay. Is Hazrat Ji is going to be here? Can we come and see him?
we'll talk about that. Let's go back to this, inshallah. फिर आपको मैं इंशाल्लाह जब हज़रत होंगे I'll inform as well. Okay.
Okay.
जी. Itikaf. Again, itikaf. There are two aspects to itikaf. One is the sunnah itikaf. The sunnah itikaf is in the last 10 days of Ramadan. That requires you to sit in the masjid with the niyyah of itikaf for all these 10 days from the Asr prior to the Maghrib of the 20th night all the way up to the sighting of the moon. 19th Asr. 19th Asr, before 19th Maghrib, evening of 20th starts. You should be in the masjid already with the niyyah of itikaf all the way up to the whatever the time moon is sighted. That is the sunnah itikaf, and then you stay in the masjid, and then that's where you are. The only reason that you can go out of masjid is for there are certain things that you can go out for, but you are basically in masjid throughout. Then there is nafl itikaf. Nafl itikaf is the thing that we should do and we do not do, is that whenever we are entering the masjid, one of our niyat should be that I, inshallah, am in this masjid for itikaf. So for as much time that we spend in that masjid, that counts towards itikaf. That's nafl itikaf. So while we are going to masjid for salah as well, we should do the niyyah. When we go to umrah and we go to do tawaf and everything, every time we go into masjid for salah, for tawaf, for everything, we should do the niyat of itikaf, of nafal itikaf, so that's another added sawab that we get. If you cannot do the full 10 days of itikaf, then at least for the odd nights, if you are planned to go and stay in your masjid from Maghrib till Fajr or from Isha till Fajr, or if not, then at least on the last 3 nights, spend some time in the masjid. Spend some time in the masjid in that night, and every time you're entering the masjid, do the niyat of nafl itikaf. For those of you who can come to Pakistan, I strongly recommend that plan to come and do itikaf with Hazrat Ji in his masjid. We have already created a group, or we have initiated a forum or a Google form on the other group, our updates group. So Umar, if you can pass that on to this group as well. Anybody who can come to Pakistan, I recommend that you come and stay there. Inshallah, we'll make proper arrangements for you guys. That will be it's a very, very heart enriching experience. So I strongly recommend that.
Sheikh sir, please make a dua. It's just a dream to come to Jang.
May Allah Ta'ala
But for
give
me,
you
it is going
reward
to
for
be very difficult.
inshallah. Allah Ta'ala आपको अपनी नीयत के मुताबिक अजर अता फरमाए.
Ameen, ameen.
And with all of these things, in Ramadan, अगर ये कुछ भी ना करें, you don't do any of these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 things, just do one thing, गुनाह ना करें. That in itself is a big achievement. This is all एडवांस टॉप अप चीज़ें. ये सब कर लें और साथ गुनाह भी कर रहे हो तो कोई फ़ायदा नहीं है. और इन सब चीज़ों का फ़ायदा तब है जो मैंने पहले जो हिडन दिल की कैफियत है उसके बारे में बात की. अपने दिल को हर एक के लिए साफ़ करना, हर एक को माफ़ कर देना, जिनसे रिश्ते नाते टूटे हुए हैं उन रिश्ते नातों को जोड़ लेना, एंड अपने वालिदैन को मना लेना. These are the things that needs to be done. ठीक है. That's all I wanted to do. As I mentioned that we will not be having Tuesday sessions any further. I will be traveling. So
how far does learning extend? Is it just for student parents?
it extends. As I said, the criteria is not कि आप हर एक के साथ जो है वो आपकी है ना वो बहन भाइयों के साथ जो immediate blood relationships हैं उनके साथ, तो it is important that you have a good relationship with them, and even if they want to move away from you, you at least extend that invitation of love. The only exception in that is that if they are forcing you to do something against Sharia, then you distance yourself to a point where they do not interfere in your application of Sharia, but still don't become their enemy or have hatred for them or any of that. That's still not there. But with your extended second tier relationships, unke saath bhi, you should be somebody that they should know that, you know, they can reach out to. So that's what is there. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make it easy for us to follow all of these things. Whatever effort that we have been making up until now, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept it. It has been a broken effort. It's not worthy of being presented to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But we can do as much that Allah gives us tawfiq to do. We ask Allah to accept it from us. Wa akhiru da'wana alhamdulillahi rabbil alameen. Before we go into these 14-15 days, inshallah, let's make the niyyah of doing a sincere tawbah to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Let's recite these kalimat with the niyyah of sincere tawbah. Recite after me. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim.
Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim.
آمنت بالله لا إله إلا الله
لا إله إلا الله
محمد رسول الله
محمد رسول الله.
آمنت بالله
آمنت بالله
وملائكته
وملائكته
وكتبه
وكتبه
ورسله
ورسله
واليوم الآخر
واليوم الآخر
والقدر خيره
والقدر خيره
وشره
وشره
من الله تعالى
من الله تعالى
والبعث
والبعث
بعد الموت.
بعد الموت.
آمنت بالله
آمنت بالله
كما هو
كما هو
بأسمائه
بأسمائه
وصفاته
وصفاته وقبلت
جميع أحكامه
أحكامه
إقرار باللسان
إقرار باللسان
وتصديق بالقلب.
وتصديق بالقلب.
أشهد أن لا إله
أشهد أن لا إله
إلا الله
إلا الله
وأشهد
أن
أن محمدا عبده ورسوله.
ورسوله.
أستغفر الله ربي
أستغفر الله ربي
من كل ذنب وأتوب إليه برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين.
يا أرحم الراحمين.
के लिए मुराक़बा कर लेते हैं. अपने सरों को झुका लीजिए, आँखों को बंद कर लीजिए. इस बात का तसव्वुर कीजिए कि अल्लाह की रहमत आ रही है, दिल की जुल्मत मिटा रही है और मेरा दिल अल्लाह का ज़िक्र कर रहा है और मैं उसको सुन रहा हूँ. अल्लाह 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 कहते हैं.